Hey, and welcome to lesson 1 of 5. So we're going to dive in and let's go on the things that you need to think about to become a successful digital product entrepreneur. All right. So we spoke previously about some of the characteristics of my best and worst type of students. A lot of these characteristics under the best kind of students category are the same characteristics that you will find in successful entrepreneurs, period. Regardless of what industry they're in, they are non-complainers. They do keep an open mind because they need to change with the times. And you're going to see why. They show up. They show up even when they don't feel like it. And they show out. They're not afraid of, and even if they are afraid, they get very comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay. They are action takers because they understand things are not just going to be handed to them, and they take responsibilities for their own actions. So if they receive a failure or a lesson learned, they look at it. A great entrepreneur learns from the worst lessons. Sometimes you learn more from failure than you do success in and of itself. And they have no problem with failing forward. And they do so sometimes without questioning. Not saying that, because I believe personally you should question everything, right? But what I mean by questioning everything is to look at things being open-minded, not thinking it's just one way to skin a cat, and not literally, figuratively speaking. And, it's more than one way to do something. There's a lot of different ways out here, and people like to share how they are doing it. But a lot of people obsess about the how instead of getting the foundation in place, because the how can change. And we're going to go over that. So you also need to love what you're doing. There's a thin line between loving what you're doing and passion alone. Because if everybody was just to try to make money from passion alone, then that might not be as successful. You still need to pay attention to the marketplace. You still need to know what the people want. And you need to find the passion that you have inside of you that coincides with the market and the type of people that you want to serve. Okay, so it's a crossover between your passion and the things that you enjoy, and you love the process because you're helping the type of people that you want to help. And you're working with people that you want to help. So it's an overlap in that. It's just not solely just passion, right? Because if I was just doing the only thing I was passionate about doing, which is designing, okay? As you can see my slides, I have these pieces here, right? These clip art pieces that I custom made. I can just do that all day. But it's more to it than that. As I want to help people accomplish their goals through helping and sharing what they already know, but it has to be something that the marketplace wants. And I teach them how to validate that to make sure that does the marketplace align with what you're passionate about. And we need to find that crossover, right? So let's dive into this lesson. We're going to talk about this pyramid. Now, this pyramid right here kind of looks like the food pyramid, right? But I learned this from one of my mentors. Now, even though I'm a mentor, mentors have mentors too, okay? Because it's someone that's always at a higher level. So with that being said, it's this pyramid process I learned about, and it's called how, hands, head, heart, and health. Now you would think of it, the how is at the top because it's not the most important, it's the least important. And these reasons right here explains how they are important. And it goes from the least to the most important, just like the food pyramid. All the good foods and the vegetables are at the bottom of the pyramid. All your junk foods and stuff, the least things you need are at the top of the pyramid. The how, everybody focuses on that. That's the main focus. They want to know how to do this, how to do that, how. The how changes over time. How I used to do designs back in the day is different from how I do designs today. The fundamentals are the same. Times have changed, but the game remains the same. The fundamentals, I'm creating a design to put on my graphics or to design a website or whatever I'm using the graphics for. How I created the graphics back then were different because I did not have the tools that we have out today. So when I had to design graphics back in the day, before drag and drop, I used to have to use HTML code and images and use code to make the images move and all of this jazz. Now today we have plugins, we have AI. I'm not having to go into Illustrator and move the pen tool around to create a graphic these days. Now we have things called Canva. Like, it's doing the same thing. The how I do it is different though. So that's what makes the how the least important thing when it's coming down to having a digital product empire. How you build the empire is irrelevant. We need the solid foundation. Okay. So let's talk about that. Typically, health comes first. Let's talk about that. And I'm guilty of this myself, because there's things that I need to do, like my first love right here, right? I need to divorce this here, right? Because I know it's not good for me to drink a gang of soda or Pepsi or pop or however you want to call it. It is not good for me, but I tend to drink a lot of soda. I know I need to stop. I am going to go on a weight loss journey here in a couple of weeks. Okay. I am going to do that because I have to understand and realize, which I do, is like, hey, if I don't take care of my health, me building out this digital product empire, I might not live long enough to see all the fruits of my hard labor. And do I want that? Do I want to go through all of this work, sweat, tears, learning, all of these things just to not get to see the promised land? I got to take better care of myself. So the first thing on the list, the most important thing, is to take care of you, your health, because you don't want to get to a point where you build out this beautiful digital product empire that you don't even get to see. Okay. So that's the older I'm getting, the more I'm thinking about that. I didn't think about that when I was younger, in my 20s and stuff. Okay. But now that I'm older, it's like, I want to live. I want to be alive to see all the fruits of my labor. Right. So I have to take better care of myself. And I think we forget about that. And that's very important, because without our health, nothing else we do will matter. So we need to evaluate ourselves and some of the bad habits that we have and start changing those habits now so we can enjoy the later and the things that we're working for. The heart is, you got to love it. You know, the excitement behind it. That's where we go back up here, where love the process. You got to know and love the unknown. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and excited about what you do. When I'm in my community, when I'm in the digital empire builders community, people be like, D, we can tell that you really like being in here. You're the most engaged. I mean, you can go to the about page. I'm gonna put the link below, but you can go and see what people say about, because I really do love my community. I love what we talk about. I love what I do in that community, and you have to enjoy it, right? So your heart got to be in it. Everything has to be in alignment, right? So I know I need to get my health in alignment. To me, I have all of these top 4 in alignment. I need to get the health in alignment. But you got to be honest with yourself, right? Because this is the person you need to become. This is how you become who you need to become to see the success that you want. And though you might want this success, if you're not willing to go through the steps, then you won't see it. And that's real, right? And then your head needs to be in it. The beliefs, your perceptions, the vision, that you got to have some clarity and some vision in your beliefs. Like, for instance, like if you're not feeling good, or emotions, like say the head has to do with your emotions. I'm not saying if you're not feeling good, but like if you're going through a breakup, you know how sometimes when you're heartbroken, you don't want to get out of bed. You can't focus. You crying. You going through a divorce. You calling off of work because your mind's not there. Your head ain't in the right place. Somebody just passed away. And those things messes with your business. Don't think for one second that the things that you go through personally don't roll over into the business. It does. And it takes a lot of strength to realize that. And all of that has to do with the success that you will see as well. That's why it's good to be in a right headspace. That's why I teach my students, Do not jump into this out of desperation. Don't lose a job and then feel like I'm going to start a business as the solution to you losing the job, because you should have been working on the business while you had the job. This shouldn't be plan B. This shouldn't be the backup plan, right? This is the, like, when you break up, the rebound. The rebound is, I'm gonna start a business now. No, because you gotta be, that's why it's not built for everybody. Everybody cannot be an entrepreneur, because some people is just doing it as a rebound and not as because this is what they want to do, right? And your beliefs play a big part in that too. What do you believe is a lot of money? And we had a poll, or not even a poll, but a debate within the community, within my free community, about what is their definition of a lot of money, or a micro ticket versus a low ticket, high ticket, mid ticket. So you have some people that think, that $300 was a high ticket, right? And this all falls with the head, right? This is their beliefs. This is their perception. This is what's inside of their minds. And some people have limiting beliefs. A lot of people want to get to their first 5K, their first 10K. I'm going to be honest with you. I've made that. I made a little over that. I've made under that. 6K. I done made 8K months. I done had 10K months. I done did this plethora of different types of monthly income. It's not a lot of money. It's as soon as it comes to some people, it might be a lot of money, but that's their belief that it's a lot of money. But once the money come in and you got all of these bills to pay, that's really not a lot of money at the end of the day, right? But it is life changing for some people. And that's what I want you to understand. A lot of it has to do with your head, and a lot of people aim too low, or they undervalue themselves. Now, the hands is a part of doing. That's the skill. That's why it's important to take action. It's very important to take action, because the skills that you learn, skills pay bills. The how is the least important thing, but it's the thing that everybody focuses on. They don't focus on the stuff that they need to focus on. They focusing on the wrong thing. They all focusing on how I do it. But their head is not in the right place. They don't have an affinity for what they're doing. Their health is messed up. They're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And this is why the how, and don't get it twisted, I'm going to teach you how to do things through this training. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm just going to show you some things that work for me, okay? And the method that I would follow, and the method I do follow. And again, guess what? In a year from now or 6 months from now, my how I do it could change, because tech didn't change. Technology didn't change, but it still boils down to the same. The foundation is the same. How we get there, you can take different roads to get to the same destination. Right? So the how is the least thing you need to worry about. You need to be making sure your health is together, your heart is in the right place, that you're doing something that has that crossover affinity of what you're passionate about, what your experiences, plus what the marketplace is looking for. And how can you match that up? Your head space you need to be in the right place mentally. And then you need to make sure you got the skills to put this into practice. How you do it should be the last thing on the list. And that's how I move them so fast, my students and my members in my free community, through the process. But it's a lot of questions, right? Here come the questions in the community, because everybody wants to know the how. And it's like, okay, this is what you need to do. This is why you need to do what you need to do. Now do the thing. No, they want to sit and research now. Here's where this worst student and best student thing come into play, right? They want to research stuff. They don't want to take the action because they got a closed mindset. They're like, well, hold on, wait a minute. They trying to get all of the pieces to the puzzle, which is wasting time, because they feel like they need to learn it now. But some things you only can be learned by doing. You can't learn it before you actually done it, right? Some things you can hear people. You can hear people, you can get their advice, and you can hear what they're saying and things like that. But it's like, hey, you're not going to know until you really do the thing. So the longer you take and procrastinate to do a thing, you never will really know either. So you're trying to figure out something that's impossible for you to figure out until it's done. And if you're trying to find the answer before you actually do it, you would never get the answer. Therefore, you would never move forward. Okay. So again, this is lesson 1 of the 5. Take note of this pyramid. I felt like it was very useful to my audience. And again, I got this from one of my mentors, that the way they broke it down and explained this, it just made perfect sense, right? So I want to share this with you guys too, because I feel like it's important that you work your business and your digital product entrepreneurial journey in this order. Start focusing on one habit that you can implement that's going to improve your health. Get in alignment with your digital product empire. I help you do that in Core. Get excited about it. Get your beliefs and your mindset in the right place. And I show sometimes you need to see it to start building confidence in yourself. And that's what we do in Core, because my whole goal in Core is to get your head in the right space, to show you that you can do this with bare minimum, right? You can really do this. But sometimes a person has to prove that to themselves. And I understand that. I get that. And the fastest way for me to allow that to happen, or to help a person do that, is me walking them through Core, which I do. And then the hands get the skills. Sometimes the skills take time to learn. That's why I created an AI tool to help streamline this process. It doesn't help you skip it. It just helps you streamline it. And then as you're going through it, you start understanding why more and more about it along the way. But at least you're not wasting time trying to figure it out in the beginning. It's already done. And it's like, okay, I can learn while I'm doing. Right. So that's kind of where the hands come into place. In the how, I show you how to start generating leads within Core, because we need to make sure the marketplace wants what it is, this idea that you have, or this crossover that you're trying to validate. And sometimes you have people saying, well, they validate through an email list. Okay, and that's how they do it. They validate through an email list. But what if you don't have one? How are you supposed to validate? And some people say, oh, I just post on social. Well, what if you don't have a following? Or what if you do have social, but nobody on your social is your following? And you did what they asked you to do by posting it on your social, on your Facebook page or whatever, but then you don't get no hits. So now you're discouraged, but you're not thinking the people on your Facebook page or your friends and family, they're not into what you want or what you're doing. So of course they're not going to respond. Of course it's going to be low engagement. But see, sometimes you got to find your how, right? So you got to understand that. So I teach that, right? So I just hope this is helpful to you. Take a screenshot, take note of this, and just understand you want to work your way from the bottom up. And the how is the least important thing you need to worry about, because there's more than one way we can get to the how. Let's get the foundation. And typically when I talk to students, it's not the how. It's typically got something to do with this inner part right here, right? The heart, something behind what they're doing is not in alignment. It's their head space. It's their beliefs, or it's the lack of skill or thereof. It's pretty much in here. The how is irrelevant, because sometimes you can learn the how from the hands. Okay. Skills help you pay bills. So skills will teach you how. I mean, you got to get the skill before you can get the how, but everybody's trying to put the cart before the horse. Okay. So this is where it comes into becoming and who you need to become to be successful. And these are the things that you need to understand. So we're going to be moving on to lesson 2 of 5 momentarily. I'll see you in the next lesson.